In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how strong Guinaifen is and why I think she's going to carry on being the best DoT support for at least the foreseeable future, for characters like Kafka for example, or just any DPS characters in general. Before I start today's video, I just want to let you guys know that unfortunately, I still won't be able to stream Genshin's 4.2 livestream, nor Honkai Star Rail's 1.5 livestream because I've got plans that day, but maybe I'll make an update summary video for Genshin or Honkai Star the next day. And with that out of the way, let's get straight into it. So first of all, I'm just going to try my best and quickly go over Guinaifen's kit. I think doing so will help you understand my opinion a bit better, as you can't really judge a character's value without knowing what their kit is made up of. So she's a fire type Nihility path character who has both support and offense capabilities. A portion of the supporting part of her kit comes from her technique, which applies an effect called Fire Kiss after an enemy with the burn DoT takes damage. This can be triggered by any character's normal burn or break burn. The only thing that matters is that you've got Guinaifen on your team, and this effect makes enemies that have this effect take increased damage, and it can also stack as well. One thing to keep in mind however is that this effect not only buffs DoT damage, but it also buffs any sort of damage that is dealt to enemies with Fire Kiss. At this point, even though I have only talked about one part of her kit, I think you guys can start to see how valuable Guinaifen is, especially when you invest a lot of resources onto her. Moving on to her skill, it deals adjacent fire damage to enemies with a 100% base chance of inflicting burn. Now, you might think that this is the only part of her kit that applies burn other than breaking enemies' toughness bars, but no, once you unlock Guinaifen's Ascension 2 Trace, her basic attack will have an 80% base chance of inflicting burn with the same burn multiplier as her skill's burn multiplier. And as you can see, the scaling of this at level 10 is actually quite high, and it can definitely deal considerable amounts of damage. What this means is that Guinaifen is going to be a very skill point friendly character. Generally, you will only have to use your skill once at the beginning of a battle, and from then onwards, you can simply use her basic attack to refresh the burn that she has applied previously, while constantly providing a source of skill points to the rest of the team. As for the offensive part of her kit, her ultimate deals AoE fire damage to all enemies, and it will deal burn damage to enemies that have it instantly at a certain percentage of its original damage. Essentially, this is a mini version of Kafka's ultimate, but nevertheless it is still going to deal a considerable amount of damage, as I believe that the burns that Guinaifen inflicts are stackable. I might be wrong on that, and if I am, please let me know in the comment section down below and correct me. The last thing about her kit is her technique. When entering battle after using it, enemies will be inflicted with Fire Kiss immediately, randomly up to 4 times with a base chance of 100% of being applied. It is a tiny bit of a shame that it is random, but I still wouldn't complain because it is going to help your team output damage. Alright, now that you've heard me summarize her kit, I'm going to go into a bit more depth and explain why I think Guinaifen is such a significant character in the game currently. Back when Kafka was released in 1.2, I sort of knew already that Kafka will be the character that you would want to have on your account if you want to really make your other DoT characters great. I still stand by that opinion now, and to be honest with you guys, my opinion is even firmer now that Guinaifen is released. My Guinaifen on my account isn't fully built, so I haven't tried it out fully yet, but I still think that the synergy between the two characters is phenomenal, and as both characters have kits that basically make other DoT characters DoT stronger, I think they are probably going to be the two strongest characters that you would want to have on your account if you really want to experience the full DoT experience, if you get what I mean. Having a team with Kafka and Guinaifen as the core of the team, and then having characters like Sampo, Luca, Silverwolf, or Tingyun as like the last two members of a team, yeah, I can already imagine how crazily good this team is going to be at dealing damage. Unfortunately, as I just said, I still haven't finished building Guinaifen, nor have I finished building Topaz, and so that will have to wait. But back to the main topic of today's video. Alternatively, you can run Guinaifen with Himiko, Asta as the speed support, and even pair her up with Topaz. Going down the path of working together with non-DoT characters can also work for Guinaifen because of how versatile she is. For example, in Himiko's case, she can inflict burn on enemies with her Ascension 2 Trace unlocked, and even though the base chance is only at 50%, it is still nice that another character can apply burn on the same team apart from Guinaifen. Himiko also deals 20% more fire damage to enemies with burn applied with her Ascension 4 Trace unlocked. It's just another nice thing that Himiko has which can benefit from Guinaifen, but still, by no means that this means that Himiko is now a great character now that we've got Guinaifen in the game. I want to say that it's probably the same story as Topaz, but the thing is that I still haven't gotten the time to even try her out yet because I keep on running out of credits to level her traces up, and so I can't really give you a solid opinion on that, and it would be irresponsible for me to give you guys an opinion without fully experiencing how Topaz plays as a character. I have seen videos of people using Guinaifen and Topaz together in the team, and they work surprisingly better than I initially thought they would. As for Asta, she buffs speed, and that just means that Guinaifen can inflict burn onto enemies earlier into the battle, and that's basically all the ideas regarding Guinaifen's possible team comps that I have at the moment. I hope that you see why I strongly believe that that Guinaifen is a strong character even though I still haven't built it yet. And now that we're talking about characters, I really have to say, Honkai Star is such a tough game to play when you're building like 4 or 5 characters at the same time. Don't be like me, only start building another character once you have finished building the first one. And before you think that I've been waffling throughout this entire video, I have spent the past week or so doing research on Guinaifen. I watched videos from various YouTubers, I also read a lot of online articles, I also went onto Instagram and Twitter pages that tells you how to build Guinaifen, and I have compared all of them before actually sitting down and making this video, so trust me when I say that she's a strong character. Next up, I'm going to be talking about her Lycone options and whether or not you should get her Eidolons. Furina is probably the best free to play Lycone that most of you guys have already. It gives you extra break effect and also buffs the damage dealt to enemies with Wind Shear or Bleed already. Good Night and Sleep Well is another very strong option as it increases the damage dealt to the target enemy if it has debuffs already applied, and this includes DoTs, but personally I think the two best 4-star options are going to be either Lucas Lycone or Samples Lycone. The two Lycone's descriptions should be on the screen right now, and let's talk about Lucas one first. So it has a base chance to decrease the hit enemy's defense, and as it can also be applied to adjacent enemies when using Guinaifen's skill or ultimate, this can really be helpful in a lot of situations. As for Samples Lycone, this one is more offensive than the previous one as it gives you effect hit rate and also increase your Guinaifen's DoT damage. In other words, if you want a more supportive Guinaifen, then go for Lucas Lycone, and if you want a more offensive Guinaifen, then go for Samples one. Last but not least, you can also go for the free 5-star Lycone from the Simulated Universe store, as it is also a very solid option. To be honest, all the other 5-star Nihility Lycones are also going to work very well on her, simply because of how she's not limited to only either a supportive or an offensive role. She can be played in both playstyles, and so it is going to be up to you to decide how you want to play her. On to the Eidolons, they're all very amazing, but I should probably let you guys know that she's still a very strong unit even without any Eidolons. But for those of you guys who want to get your hands on some of her Eidolons, I would suggest stopping at either E1 or E2. E1 makes your team apply effects a bit easier with its 10% effect resistance debuff on enemies when Guinaifen's skill is hit, and E2 basically increases the burn damage that enemies receive when she uses her basic attack or her skill. I guess you can argue that E4 is also a nice thing to pick up if you have the extra stellar jade, but to be fair, her ultimate isn't the biggest part about her kit, and that's why I'd say the first two Eidolons should be the stopping point. With that all said, I'll now talk about her relics, and as what I've said in my previous Topaz video, I dreamed about potentially a new relic set being added in 1.5 which is DoT orientated. We'll find out on Friday in the 1.5 update livestream, but as of right now, I'd say go for 2-piece musketeer and 2-piece fire set or 2-piece speed set. The main stats that you would want to look for is either attack percent or speed on the foot piece, depending on whether you have 134 speed already or not, and crit damage or crit rate depending on which one you need more of for the body piece. As for the substats, you would want to look for attack percent, effect hit rate, speed, and maybe some crit damage and crit rate. For the planisphere and the link rope, go for the space station set. The main stat for the link rope should be attack percent, and the main stat for the planisphere should be fire damage bonus. Personally, I'm going to wait until 1.5 comes out before I start grinding for her relics, as what I just said might very well come true. One thing about Honkai Star that I have recently noticed is that it is a lot harder to get good pieces for some reason than Genshin, and so I'm definitely going to save up my Trailblaze power before dumping all of them into relics and just get absolutely horrible pieces. Hopefully after watching this video you'll get what I mean when I said that she's going to be the best DoT support in the game currently. Of course, this can change in the future, but in 1.5 and in 1.6, we're not getting any Nihility Path characters, so feel safe to build her and use her for at least the 2 upcoming updates before we find out who's coming out in the future. I've put more emphasis on team building in this character review video because I feel like I should focus more on that from now on in my character review videos, and I hope that I have done a decent job at describing the interactions between characters in today's video. If you found this video helpful, then please leave a like and subscribe if you're new. That's it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!